Is what he has won so far, but a silverware less, I'm bringing that word again back, Alejandro, season is definitely shocking for a Jose Mourinho. We expected him to criticize some of his players after this game, but this is actually what he had to say.
But this is the way I prefer to lose. I prefer to lose with a positive feeling with my players than lose like sometimes it happens where you feel frustrated, you go home, you don't understand why you played so bad, you have regrets because you should give more. Today is the kind of match where, okay, sadness, yes, of course, but completely happy with my players, with everything we gave.
Losing in a positive way. Who'd have thought Jose Mourinho would say that? Guys, is this enough? What do you think?
I'm guessing that the standards have changed. For Manchester.
Changed or dropped?
Well, have changed. Well, that's what change is.
You can change for the better.
Yeah,
well,
you could.
Isn't it, though?
And you could make the argument that Manchester United has improved this season. In numbers, and the numbers would back that up. So I'm not going to argue that. But what I would say is that when is it okay for Manchester United to accept losing? In any competition. In any competition, whether it's coming second in the Premier League and saying, well, you know, just Manchester City had a special season. When was it okay for Manchester United to say it's okay for somebody else to finish first? To lose out to Sevilla and say, well, you know, we were in Champions League and we got out of the group. When is it okay to accept that as part of your reality? I think the standards for Manchester United have to be higher than that, and the evaluation process for Manchester United and Jose Mourinho have to be higher than that. And based on those standards, the step that they've taken forward, it's a little bit of a nudge. It's a tippity toe, okay? It's not. We're not leaping forward. It's just nice little step forward, and that's it.
Shaka, what do you think? Do you think? Because some people say that a top four finish is like a trophy in and of itself, and second place only to a Manchester City team that could seemingly dominate everyone. Is that enough for Jose Mourinho for this season?
No, I don't. And that cliche that a top four finish is like a trophy in itself. I credit to Arsene Wenger, and we all know how that kind of ended up for Arsenal and Arsene himself. So no, I think what you're seeing is a redefining of what success is for Manchester United, and disappointingly. Now, Jose Mourinho as well, as a manager, has based his career, his record, his reputation on lifting silverware. You don't often get good performances because he's happy to sacrifice good football for results. Now, so to step away from that and say, well, it wasn't too bad this time around, and if I'm going to lose, this is the way, credit to him, but that's not Jose Mourinho. And I'm not sure, so now all of a sudden I'm not sure how we are supposed to take that from Jose. At the same time, you know, this doesn't put a good punctuation mark on what has otherwise been a disappointing season. Yes, City have been good, but I don't think Manchester United have been that great. This doesn't help solve that conundrum in my mind.
This is what he has done in his tenure at Chelsea. And the question is, will he end up staying or leaving after this FA Cup final win? Gab Marcotti had hinted earlier this week that, you know, it's not signed, seal, deliver that he's set to leave, despite the sort of turmoil that he has experienced this past season. But guys, do you think with this FA Cup win, could it change things? Could he possibly at least hang on for that last year?
You mentioned turmoil. A lot of the turmoil was brought upon by him. He created a lot of this. It started back with Diego Costa, and then started back when, okay, we don't have the players that I've asked for, and this is not the squad that I want, this is not the team that I want. And we spent a lot of the season just talking about that. And this team spent a whole lot of the season playing like that, with that sort of turmoil and that sort of uncertainty. This is going to put a bow on the season, and it's going to make it a little prettier than what it was.
But he looked back to normal. He was very animated, the good old, celebrations on the sidelines, the Conte that we've missed.
Hey, when anybody wins, it doesn't matter how terrible the season has been, everybody's happy.
But this might have been
everybody's
a spark
excited
to reignite his love for Chelsea and remind him of the good times.
The good times, which clearly he had already forgotten throughout the course of the season.
You guys aren't romantic at all.
No, I'm all about romance, but romance that lasts. I'm in it to win it, baby. In it to win it.
See what a royal wedding can do. Shaka, what do you think?
Antonio Conte is gone and has been gone for quite some time. I think this result, as good as it was, as deserved as it was, I don't think it changes some of the underlying problems. And yes, Antonio Conte made quite a few of his own issues, but at the same time, he spent the early part of this season complaining about not being able to get his own transfer targets. Do you see that changing in the space of a summer? I don't. I think it'll be the same kinds of frustrations for Antonio Conte if he does stay. And if there's an offer on the table, I think he walks away. Regardless, I think Abramovich, and you know how itchy his trigger finger is, has probably made up his own mind already. I think this deal is done in terms of their separation.
Welcome into Extra Time on this fine Saturday. Alexis, you
Royal Wedding Saturday.
With Shaka. It is not
Ali set
Royal
his
Wedding
alarm.
Saturday. It is FA Cup Final Saturday. And it is Gigi Buffon Saturday, Shaka.
Ali set his alarm to watch a Royal Wedding.
Ali.
That is
why
not
you
true.
dress so
I did.
Ali woke up before his wife and children to get downstairs, watch the Royal Wedding.
Did you have a cup of tea while you were doing
I
it?
woke up before my wife and children, and I watched the royal wedding. Yes, I did. I did.
Why?
And it was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. Yeah, it was. Filled with love.
And he was really and truly hoping to identify people because he's been watching The Crown a lot.
No,
You know that show
don't
on
make
Netflix?
excuses for him.
Netflix?
Don't make excuses for
He
him.
wanted to see the dress. Just be honest, Ali. You wanted to see the dress.
And it was a beautiful dress of that.
Really?
You didn't like it?
No, I thought it was a bit plain, but you know what? She's stunning. She can pull off anything.
No. See,
Much
I'm trying to
like
make it
that.
better now. Don't try.
Too late.
No,
Too late.
What?
I said
I'm trying to
the
dig
dress.
yourself out.
I expected a little something more. A little like glimmer
You
somewhere.
know
I
what?
don't
The
know.
tiara was lent by the queen.
I mean, the tiara was beautiful. The dress was
so
just
many
a bit...
details.
Stop looking at me when you're talking about dress. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have
I
no
don't
idea.
know. Wow.
Look at me.
Hey,
We turned
you were
into-
critical.
We
you
just
were
turned
critical.
into fashion police.
I thought it was beautiful. You were critical.
All fashion people everywhere are saying, you three stick to your day jobs. Talk about
Not
football.
three.
So let's talk about...
Not three, two.
Let's talk about football.
Why
I'm out of this.
Helios Petty, that is a fancy name. Helios Petty
Inspirational.
says, if you guys were Antoine Griezmann, would you go to Barcelona?
Let me tell you something.
Okay, sure.
I would go to Barcelona every weekend. I didn't mean to be Antoine
vacation
Griezmann.
or to play?
Wherever. Whatever.
And what would you be doing in Barcelona, Shaq?
Whatever they ask me to.
Fifth string goalkeeper?
If that's what they wanted, I'd bring my gloves. No, listen. A club like Barcelona comes a calling. I think he's been more than loyal to Atletico Madrid. He's been there, done that. There have been a number of clubs who've come in from before. He stayed. When he could have left last summer and everybody expected him to leave, he wanted to wait for the opening of a new stadium. Yes. I think Antoine Griezmann, at this point, can decide what he wants to do, regardless of where it is. And if it's Barcelona, absolutely.
Alex?
There is a handful of clubs around the world, and when they call, you have to answer that call.
And Barcelona's one.
Certainly so.
Can't argue with that one. Ahmad. Oh, Ahmad's back. He always writes to us. Hey, Ahmad. Ahmad wants to know, is Bayern Munich's season still considered a success considering today's defeat in the German Cup final?
There's a lot of consideration going
Now,
on.
this is a serious discussion because there's been a bit of a slightly turbulent season for Bayern. It's not the dominating Bayern that we've come to know and love.
Well, dominating in the league, yes.
Yes.
As we see again, but then, when you win, what's that, 6 in a row now? That's expected, and you just expected more from Bayern in terms of a fight in the Champions League. Unlucky, yes, with a couple of calls, but I don't know, maybe could have gotten made more of a fight of it against Real Madrid, and then to go down in the manner that they did. Unlucky, hit the underside of the crossbar twice yet again. But you find yourself out, and
But overall, the season, if you're Jupp Heynckes, are you leaving now feeling, you know what, I leave on a happy note?
If you're Jupp Heynckes, you're saying to yourself, man, I was comfortable. I had to come back into this mess, stress
you go.
myself out for no reason. We didn't advance past Real Madrid, and now we lose to Eintracht Frankfurt, and then people are going to be asking these questions. Was this a success or not a success? The truth of the matter is that Jupp Heynckes, he's been out for a bit now. All right, Niko Kovac is going to come in, and he's going to have the job now to figure out, okay, what do I do with a talented team, albeit a team that is also aging? There are players here that are getting older, and that window is closing. And how do you lead that transition? He's the one that has the real challenge in his hands. Jupp Heynckes is just going to enjoy retirement.
Yeah, in fairness to Jupp Heynckes, he came in to salvage what was looking like a pretty bad situation, and he did that. So I don't see Bayern's feelings as a reflection on Jupp Heynckes at all. But still, you expected a little bit more, or were hoping for a little bit more from Bayern.
All right, so I guess that sounds like kind of success then.
We were on the fence.
They're on the fence, as they love to sit on the fence. All right, well, if you guys ever entered Miss Venezuela or Miss Trinidad and Tobago or Mr. TNT or Mr. Venezuela, this definitely would be one of those questions. So to our first contestant, how do you think the legalization of sports gambling could affect soccer in the U.S.? Mr. TNT, we'll have you go first.
I think there are enough things in place to kind of catch huge bets and attempts to sway the game in that manner. One of the things I think that sport has to think about, and you see the gambling industry moving towards, is prop bets. How can you detect somebody telling the goalkeeper the first time you get it out of your hands, kick it out of bounds, or drop kick it, or throw it, as opposed to whatever they might do. People can bet on that, and that's the ridiculous part, and that's the hard part to police. Now, I'm not a gambler, never have been, and never will be at this point, so I'm not quite seeing of the bigger picture to this, but it's considered.
It's true. Shaka doesn't even gamble with his food options. Soup and salad every day for this man. Alejandro.
Body's a temple.
Body's a temple.
I'm not sure.
Although this temple has been ransacked.
Ale, what do you think?
Anytime that we put up the SPI, we also put the odds, and from the bookies. It's what sports is nowadays, and if you can control that somehow, and you can benefit from it, and you can get an economic benefit from it if you are part of the soccer community and MLS or whoever it may be, then why not be a part of it if you can organize it in such a manner in which those things that Shaka is talking about do not come into play. It's tricky, it's difficult, people are afraid of it, people get nervous when there's talk of gambling in and around sports, but it's impossible to just kind of turn your back on it. So you might as well turn your back towards it, embrace it, appreciate it, and regulate it accordingly so that you can control it and not somebody else is controlling it for you.
I think if you can get those regulations in place, it'll be a good thing for sport. As you see, fantasy sport for no money, and the effect that that's had on not just soccer, but sport throughout. I think if you can, again, somehow catch some of those loopholes, this can have a good knock-on effect in terms of popularity and in terms of fan engagement.
And there I thought that our sex appeal alone would be enough for the Mr. Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Venezuela.
If it were up to me, I would give you both the crown.
Oh.
In this Mr. World, Mr. FC World competition.
That's Alexis's Steve Harvey moment, right?
Oh, no, you didn't. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and start discussing the royal wedding a bit more and the dress, but we want to remind you guys to tune into ESPN FC. We are on every single day of the week. Watch it on ESPN+.
Never mind that. Stop putting me in you and Ali's
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful, Shaka.
I'll take your word for it.
But not beautiful enough.
Watch every day on ESPN+.